Previously on Trigun, a train that was not a train was hijacked by a flamboyant gang leader thanks to the help of the son of the guy who built the thing. Naturally, Vash is trying to protect the kid. When we pick up with the pair, they're hiding in a ventilation shaft so Vash can assess his situation.
Oh man, why can't I just get a break? Death and poverty like me so much. They brought friends. Oh yeah, and then there's the insurance girls. It never ends.
I hear you, Vash, I hear you. The kid has a flashback to his father working on the steamer, but it doesn't get very far because Vash has snapped out of it and decided the kid should too. Trying to think of how to save the steamer allows him to finish his flashback, though, hearing of how, for his father, this was a way of helping others, and he hopes that his son Kite will do something else to help others, like maybe thwart the squad of death that he's brought on board. That would be a nice start. The kid has become so down that Vash finally has to knock some sense into him.
What are you getting all sentimental on me for, you little squirt?
Oh, how I wish that worked in real life. They use a trick with some empty tanks to get the drop on some goons and swipe their guns. When the boss spots the note on the back of the one who stumbles into the control room, he is incredibly amused by the fun of taking on Vash. Vash, for his part, pretends to be a guard elsewhere on the steamer, one that is currently getting his ass kicked by Vash, to both throw off his enemy and remind them that he is pretty cool. He gives Kite a pen that can be used to communicate with Vash because apparently he's James Bond now. Kite knows that this is lost technology, but Vash isn't answering any questions about it, and really, there's no time for it anyway. Ask for backstory after we've avoided falling to our deaths, kid. Speaking of which, Vash gets ambushed and accidentally hits them with some of his return fire, and is he ever upset over that? He's treating one of his attackers before dealing with his own wound, explaining that he realizes how stupid his approach is, but that he made a promise, and he's trying to keep it. As for the kid, we see in his flashback that his father died, who was left broke and homeless, hence why he was willing to take a stack of double dollars that the bandit was offering him.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby.
I am betrayed, and they have betrayed, and we all let a lot of innocent people die. It's too late for us to go back now, and they're too damn clean.
Then you should start over.
With a story? Okay, my dad was... He directs Vash using the recreation of his father's blueprints he's made.
Don't go anywhere else. That's the only unmanned place.
Yes, filled with bad guys should have been more clearly marked. Vash is only concerned about Kite, though. Even when the bad guys open up on him, Vash just stands there. And sure enough, all of this was just to try to scare him. They intentionally fired something like 1,000 rounds around him, but not into him. My delicious plan is that he'll catch lead poisoning. Just when the big bad is about to put him down for real, Meryl reveals herself when she puts a gun to the man's head, wearing one of their uniforms. Millie pulls out a Gatling gun the size of a ballet dancer to back her up, but they let slip that this is the famous Vash the Stampede, and the leader is quite pleased at that news. He might be the first. He challenges Vash to a duel, one-on-one, with the safety, or lack thereof, of the sand steamer as the prize. So the coin is tossed, and when it hits, the duel will begin, and likely will stop very quickly afterwards. I think this is what Aaron Burr really did. There's rocks flying everywhere as they approach their destination, and during it, Vash is face down, to the irritation of the bad guy, knowing it's only because jumping around reopened his wound. Despite the urging of his goons, the boss doesn't shoot Vash and accepts his defeat, that a man willing to defend his name to the death has earned his respect. So the sand steamer is stopped before they're all doomed.
It's no good. They won't engage, sir.
Did the impact damage the hydraulic system?
Unconfirmed, sir, but I'm getting abnormal pressure readings in the boiler. If it gets much higher than this, the entire hull will explode.
Oops, spoke too soon. I suppose overclocking this thing while smashing into rocks wasn't good for it. Word of the problem quickly gets back to Vash, Meryl, and Millie, and he knows that Kite is the one who can solve this. Kite's already on the move, talking with the engineers, explaining how to fix this.
Damn! 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 Damn!
He put himself through engineering school by being a crush fetish model.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
I'll never forget watching my fellow crewmate as he was killed right in front of me. I will not accept help from you. We will stop the ship ourselves.
I'm prepared to let everyone die for my grudge. Thanks to the secret radio pen, and there's a phrase I don't get to use often enough, Vash checks up on him and Kite says he'll solve this, while the engineers struggle in vain to figure it out. Finally, as one of them is practically crying over their pending failure, Kite rushes in to do his thing. But even though he's burned himself in the attempt, it's still not enough, and the big bad guy himself has to get involved, stopping the thing just before it ran off the cliff. Purely to satisfy the wager, he insists. So he's very, undeniably, a terrible man, but he has a sense of honor, so that's something. After Kite gets all bandaged up, he goes onto the roof of the steamer with Vash, sings an old song, and it's a song that makes Vash cry, because Rem used to sing that song. Daw. This was an engaging two-parter. The choice of villain to throw against Vash was really inspired. He's definitely a terrible man, being a casual murderer, but they rounded out his edges with his sense of honor, and his response to many incidents as challenges rather than something to lose his temper over. Combine that with his sense of style, he's a good foil for Vash. The choice of setting was novel too, although seeing a bit more of it would have been good. I mean, clearly there's an upper decks, lower decks situation going on here that we barely glimpse. It would have been nice to see Vash disrupting the former more in his escapades. The story takes another opportunity to peel a bit more away from Vash, showing that he has a lot more going on under the hood. This is a nice continuation of the series, and I like how not the series has had a chance to settle into what it's all about with those one-shot episodes, that these two-part stories are in here to give it a bit more room to breathe. Nicely done.